Hi ladies and gentlemen, Kavasera Dina, your lecturer at Mountains of the Moon University. We're here again for teaching techniques. Having looked at the factors that affect effective teaching, we're going to look at the learners, the type of learners. We need to understand the types of learners. We have basically three types of learners. One is the slow learner. In a class of 60 students, beware, you have three types of learners. Number one, we have the slow learner. Number two, we have the gifted, talented learners. Number three, we have the normal, the ones we call average learners. Then we'll go straight to the slow learners. Sometimes we call them low achievers. And we need to look at their characteristics, their behavior, and what causes this kind of slow learner. First of all, you can say slow learners are the category of students who lag behind in virtually all the learning. Slow learners are the category of students who lag behind in virtually all that they do, and especially in the learning. They lag a little bit behind. They need more time to learn something. They exhibit numerous learning difficulties. When it comes to writing, they have a difficulty. When it comes to reading, they have a difficulty. This category of learner is made up of mentally retarded and learning disabled people. You remember my assignment in the previous session to write 15 physical defects for a learner. 15 physical defects of a learner that can affect teaching and learning. And here we are looking at the category of learners that are mentally retarded. We call them the slow learner, the low achievers. We cannot say they are poor learners. We say slow. They learn but slowly. These learners, the ones we call slow learners, they have a short or slow retention capacity. They have a low attention capacity. They can't be in a class for a very long time learning something. They're here moving out and running out. They can settle for 5 minutes and they move out. They have short memory. If they are to remember, they remember a few things. They remember things that they have just learned. Like we said, they have physical defects most times. The slow learners are bored, usually. They are not interested. You're teaching this one, they are looking at that. You're teaching, you're in class, they are playing. These are the characteristics of the slow learners. One, they have short attention span. They cannot concentrate for a very long time. They have short memory. They cannot remember things a long time ago, and they cannot remember things easily. The slow learners are usually bored. You're teaching here, they feel disinterested. They want to move out and go. They have a poor eye and hand coordination. This one is going to affect the writing. When you ask them to write something, they have a problem connecting the eye to the hand. They write like this. If they put the eyes there, the hand is this side. And remember, writing or reading is about coordination of both the hand and the eye. You're here looking at this one and also writing. Most times when we're copying notes from the chalkboard, we read the chalkboard and then we're writing here. So we're saying they have that poor coordination of the eye and the hand. The numerical ability is very low and they are very poor at calculation. We're looking at the characteristics of the slow learners. They have issues with multiplication, addition, subtraction. The numerical skills, 5 times 5, it takes them when they can even look for a calculator. Those are the characteristics of the slow learners. We are going to move to the causes. Why do we have people who learn slowly and those who learn quickly, the talented ones? There are some causes. Cause number one, the health problem. A child at birth is in a kind of a state of emergency. If the child doesn't come out immediately the first minute, the one we call a golden minute. There is a golden minute at delivery. If the child doesn't breathe, and how does breathing take place? Crying. If the child doesn't cry in the first 1 minute, that golden minute, the brain is already affected. A child's mother could have had issues at delivery, could have had measles, could have had malaria. It affects the child's growth. So we can say health problems affect the learner, the child's learning. Then the psychological problems. There are some mothers who are experiencing intensive and excessive anxiety, worry, and stress. I would request the husbands to take care of the pregnant mother, because it has an implication on the child's growth, even in the stomach and even outside. If the mother has psychological issues, that's why don't smoke, don't drink, because whatever you drink affects the child, whatever you smoke affects the child. The way you're stressed will also affect the child's growth, and then we find ourselves having a child who has problems with learning. We also have genetic problems. I don't know how we're going to discuss this one, because most times men, when they have bright children, they say, that's me. When the child has learning issues, you're dull like your mother. They say it's a negative comment, but we can say they are confirming this point, that some people are genetically slow learners. It doesn't mean that if the mother was a slow learner, the child takes the mother's brain, and the father is a bright guy, the child takes the brightness of the father. Another factor is the home-based problems. Home-based problems. Broken homes. Most times as parents, when we're having issues, we forget that there is another third party. The third party is the child. If the mother is divorcing a father, there is a way the child is affected. If the father is beating a mother, there is a way the child is affected, and that will affect her concentration in class, his concentration in class. So we say home-based problems. For example, broken homes, extreme poverty. This is very bad. Poverty has an effect on how we learn. But we need to do more research on this one. Sometimes the children of the poor are the more intelligent ones. But we're talking about extreme poverty affecting learning. Then we have the school-based problems. We're looking at causes of slow learners. If a teacher is using a wrong method of teaching, if the relationship between the teacher and the pupil is bad, the child is likely to have issues with learning. So the school-based problems can affect the learning. Remember, we're talking about the types of learners. We have seen the slow learner. We have they lag behind. They lag behind almost in everything. They learn slowly. We're not saying they don't learn, but they learn slowly. Then we have the second group, where we all want to belong, gifted, talented learners. The gifted, talented learner are those whose intellectual capabilities are exceptionally good. They learn with ease. You teach them once and they master the skill. You teach them once and they get the knowledge. They understand very quickly. That is the gifted learner. Good thing I'm teaching teachers who are already practicing and they know what it means to have a gifted learner, an exceptional learner. There are not many, like in a class of 60, the extremes of gifted are few, and the extreme of slow learners are also few. We are looking at the characteristics of talented learner. They rank high in academic achievement. These are the people who are number one. Sometimes when we're teaching and we're marking, there are times when we find that a student deserves 100, but we can't give you 100. We have to reduce one for poor handwriting, disorganization. But there are students who really give us a marking guide. You call it, I've given them a marking guide. Those are students who are ranked high academically. They achieve, they almost score all. They get 100 out of 100. They are fast thinkers. Think about something, get a solution, and they're through with it. You give them a mathematical equation, they think through it, they solve it, and they're done. They are quick thinkers. They have good cardio relationship. They relate with ease. These are the most liked students in class, the most jolly person in class. Those are the gifted learners. You have them in class, you can observe and see them. We're trying to look at the types of students. We have the slow learners, we have the gifted learners. They have very good cordial relationship. They have outstanding leadership skills. The head boy, the head girl. They are mostly liked by everyone. They are really good in all subjects. In science, they are good. Mathematics, they are good. English, they are good. Those are the gifted learners. And they even participate with ease. That category of students, I'm saying they're a little bit few in a class. The slow learners are also few. Then that means there is a class in the middle. There is a group of students in the middle. These are the slow learners. The majority of the learners can be classified as normal learners. Ladies and gentlemen, if you looked at your scores in a class, you'll find that those who get 100, they are few. Those who get 20, they are few. But then those who get between 40 and 70 are the majority. For us teachers, when we're looking at your scores, when you present to us your scores, we look at the normal curve. We look at the normal curve. You'll find the majority are in the middle. If you look at the curve will be moving like this. If you give me your results of a class and I find 90% have all scored 100, there is a problem. Because my teaching, my learning tells me that the majority are the average, the normal learners. If you give me results, I'm a head teacher, you give me results and I find all the students have got 20 out of 100, there is a question. So in a class of 50 people, we expect the majority to be in the middle. We call the normal learners. The few ones at this extreme, the talented ones, are getting 100. Then the few ones are getting 30 and below. That's the normal curve. If you don't know, look at your scores. You'll find the majority are in the middle. And those majority people are the normal learners. That is to say that majority of learners are have average abilities. They score between 50 to 70, 60, and they fall in the middle of the curve. The curve is not skewed to the left or skewed to the right. I have explained it down there that majority of them will score between 40 and 70. Those are the learners. We have three types of learners. We have the slow learners, we have the talented, and then the average. Characteristics of the average learners. They manifest average abilities. They do things but with a little bit of difficulty or slowness. I mean, they are a little bit slow. They have their own learning problems, like lateness to school, wrong peer group, etc. They manifest giftedness when faced with challenges. When you give them a challenge, they try their best, and that's when they do the things right. You give them assignment, submission time is 15th of March. On the 13th, you see them producing the results you want. Ladies and gentlemen, we will close this session at this level and meet again in another session, looking at another technique of teaching. Thank you for listening to me. Kabazira Dina, Mountains of the Moon University. Thank you very much.